First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. It's a Tuesday morning. I'm Jenna Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer Chris Carter. That is Nick Wright. We got pens, we got papers, we got information, we got news, we got a show for you. We're ready to go.
Lots
you good?
to do. Absolutely. We are great.
We got a lot on the docket this morning. Melo is officially a Rocket. Baker Mayfield is starting drama at Browns camp already, and the Dallas Cowboys might be getting a big-time pass catcher. Sort of. That's where we will start.
I'm excited. I'm just here to do what the coaches ask me. So, whatever they put on my plate, I'm going to do the best I can, go out there and execute and do my best. They're asking me to do a couple of different things, but, it's just kind of, developing myself more as a route runner. And, I think in the past I wasn't really asked to run as many complex routes, but, now I have, a couple more routes to add to my route tree.
His book got a little thicker this year coming into camp. All right, so we mentioned earlier that Marshall Faulk will be someone someone he's watching, someone he's looking for to maybe mirror his game a little bit. What can someone like Zeke learn from Faulk, see?
Well, the number one thing is to learn more of the routes in the route tree. We talk about route tree, but we only talk about wide receivers. We very seldom talk about the combination of routes that a running back can run. And typically, running backs are a product of where they come from. In high school, Ezekiel Elliott, there's no need for him to be a pass receiver. Man, hike the ball to him. You got the quarterback handed to him. At Ohio State, we saw what he did in the zone read. Rushed for almost 300 yards against Alabama. Almost did the same thing against Oregon. So why would you put him into the pattern? So when you get to pro sports, that's when you have to elevate your game. You try to do different things. And I'm glad that the coaching staff of Dallas realizes, not only because they don't have a great receiving core, but this is a skill set that if he can capture that, it makes him a better player. It makes them a better team. And he's got his eyes on one of the all-time greats. For those who have not watched, man, Marshall Faulk was amazing out of the backfield. But also, Marshall Faulk has that breakaway speed like Zeke. Marshall Faulk had years of experience because at San Diego State, he was a pass catcher in his freshman year when he dominated college football coming from the great state of Louisiana. So I like the comparison. I like the person that he's targeting, and I'm glad the Dallas Cowboys and their staff, because when a player says something like this, that means either in his postseason meeting last year, they said Zeke wants you to be a better pass catcher, which is obvious. Now they're starting to target, so I guarantee you they've broken down film. They've given him a package of things to look at, and this will be a big part of week number 1. We won't see this in the preseason, but week number 1, when the Cowboys take the field, you better be concerned about Ezekiel Elliott and his ability to come out of the backfield.
If he could become 25% of the pass-catching threat Marshall Faulk was, it will be a drastic improvement. People need to get who we're talking about here. And I have no problem with someone setting their sights high. He's setting his sights arguably as high as he possibly could. I think 3 best pass-catching running backs in the history of the league, probably Marcus Allen, LaDainian Tomlinson, Marshall Faulk. You mentioned when I was discussing this earlier, Thurman Thomas shouldn't be left out. But what Faulk did, there was a 4-year stretch from his last year in Indy to his first 3 years the greatest show on turf. Over in that 4 years, he won three straight Offensive Players of the Year. He averaged 2,250 yards from scrimmage. Averaged. He set the all-time yards from scrimmage record. He still holds second place on that list. He's got 3 of the top 25 yards from scrimmage seasons in the history of football. He averaged 84 catches a season. 84 catches, 880 yards average over that 4-year stretch. That's a good year for a receiver. That is a good year for a number 2 receiver in this league. And he was doing that while averaging 1,360 on the ground at 5 a carry. This is one of the greatest players ever to play the game. So I understand him setting his sights there, saying you might as well try to go be the best. He doesn't have to become Marshall Faulk to become a much better pass catcher than he is right now, though. Right now, there's, I don't know, a dozen running backs in the league that are a bigger pass-catching threat than Zeke. Right now, he's meeting. Right. It's the only thing in his game.
And a lot of that is because the opportunities presented to them.
Right.
All right? And this is a league, too, that we want players to specialize more now but our top running backs, they are not specialists. They have the dual threat where they can run the ball between the tackles. Most of them have breakaway or big play speed, but their ability to catch the ball. Todd Gurley, and we know Le'Veon Bell, the best that we've seen. The best, they have to be able to play on 3 downs, and that's what Zeke is trying to get to.
And just real quick, the other reason I'm glad he's focusing on this is if we're grading his game, as a runner, he's an A+ runner. As a blocker, as a running back, it's fair to say he's a B+, A- blocker. Like,
yes, and in pass protection, blitz protection, yes.
That's what I meant, picking up the blitz. This is the one part of his game he's not either already elite or semi-elite at. So it's absolutely correct of him and the Cowboys to be drilling down on this because he doesn't have a ton of room for improvement in the other areas.
So that's what I was going to ask you. How much of this for Ezekiel Elliott is natural progression as an athlete within that position, and how much is the fact that the Cowboys really don't have anyone else that they want to throw the ball to?
It's a natural progression. If they're going to get the best out of Ezekiel in his career, they're going to have to be able to throw the ball to him. He should not be in the game as much as he is and only have 30 catches, 25 catches. He should have at least 50 catches. So, as you mentioned, in professional sports, it's that next step. It's that guy that shoots from 15 feet, and, man, he wants to be able to shoot 3-pointers. It's the guy that made his living on the 3-point line. I'm going to decide that I'm going to go to the hole. This is what pro athletes have to do. Ezekiel Elliott is a phenomenal rusher of the football, and you could say maybe the best pure runner of the football we have in the NFL, trying to add to his game, and I expect him to do it.
And one of the reasons Cowboys fans should be optimistic that this isn't square peg round hole, that this isn't asking a guy to do something he can't do, rather it's just asking a guy to do something he hasn't been doing, is since he came into the league, there's only 3 running backs that have been targeted in the passing game at least 50 times who are averaging at least 8 yards per catch. And it's Tevin Coleman, Alvin Kamara, who was outstanding at this as a rookie, and Zeke. So in limited opportunities, he's been good at it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, 32 catches his rookie year, 26 his second year. Granted, he only played in the 10 games. Like, it seems like there is some value being left out on the field by not targeting him more often.
And the Cowboys need him. I mean, the Cowboys have a need there and a desire to throw the ball to someone, and this would just be another way to help their offense.
Absolutely. We know their wide receiving core, there are going to be issues, there are going to be struggles, but you count that with the problem. Yes, they don't have a bunch of proven guys from a wide receiver standpoint, and also their offensive line. We talk about one of the best offensive line. If they're healthy, the best offensive line. Also very, very athletic. So their screen game should be potent. So it leads to, all right, I'm going to get the running back the ball because I don't have a great group of wide receivers. Also, I need to be able to hide this guy because he's that kind of talent. I want to get him more touches. He's a great open field runner, so let me get him in space like Marshall Faulk. But, man, I got a great offensive line that's very, very athletic. Let me get them on the perimeter and do some different things compared to fighting this football game in a phone booth, which the Dallas Cowboys, that's what they've done in 2 years with Zeke.
And one thing Zeke's been extraordinary at already in his career is scoring the football. He's played in 25 games. He has 25 touchdowns. He'll take a touchdown a game over any era, the history of pro football. Marshall Faulk's one of the most prolific touchdown scorers ever. He's 7th most in NFL history for total touchdowns. If adding this element to his game all of a sudden gets to where Zeke could be around 20 touchdowns, as we saw Faulk a few times, a couple years he led the NFL in total touchdowns, that can give the Cowboys offense the extra punch that it's going to be missing with their limited receiving threats on the outside.
They'll definitely be able to use him in that regard. All right, coming up, we'll switch gears ever so slightly. Is Carmelo Anthony actually okay coming off the bench? In the past, he said no, but we are not in the past anymore. That's next. This is First Things First.
Syracuse Truth Teller.